All right, it looks like attendees are slowing down a little bit. We can go and get started. First of all, can everyone hear me okay? Everyone can see my screen? Just want to make sure before we get started. Perfect. Thank you all for confirming. So I'll do a quick introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Greg Goulding. I am our team's Director of Data Analytics here at Georgetown MSB, here in the admissions office. So I have quite a history with Georgetown, actually. I graduated as an undergrad student back in 2017 from the College of Arts and Sciences. I had studied economics and math, and that took me down an analytics career. So prior to working at Georgetown, I spent 4 years working at Deloitte doing analytics consulting projects with federal clients here in the DC area. Before I missed really being at Georgetown, and I saw this amazing opportunity to join a growing analytics movement here at MSB. So I am actually one of the first full-time data hires here at the business school. So that was really exciting. While I've been here, I've actually decided to do my own MBA. So I'm graduating next month, actually, in a couple of weeks from the Flex program here at McDonough. And I'm happy to answer, any questions about the program in general, but the Flex program specifically as well because of the experience that I've had. All positive things. So a couple of housekeeping things. We will have a couple of exploratory sessions here for you. We'll start with a applications workshop. We'll move into an overview of our program. You'll get a chance to hear from our staff at the Career Center. You'll hear from a panel of current students and kind of get some follow-up material on how else you can interact with us for the rest of this admissions year or starting with next year's cycle. And then if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A chat box. I can't really talk and answer questions at the same time, but when we hit breaks, where, for example, during the Career Center presentation, I'll try and follow up on those questions as we go along. And please make sure you drop them in the Q&A and not the general chat, although I will be checking both. Thank you. So as we get started here, where is everyone calling in from? Maybe leave in the chat. DC, Boston, Massachusetts, North Carolina. Okay, I'm seeing East Coast, Denmark, Chicago, Tokyo. Wow, we're going international here. So thank you all for spending your time with us here, accommodating the time zone differences. I'm sure that's not easy. We appreciate you spending that time. Yeah, so real quick before we get started too, who here is interested in full-time, flex, maybe flex online? If you want to put that in the chat as well. Full-time, flex, flex online. Looks like it's leaning more full-time, but we have people interested in every program, which is great because we will be going over all of them. Thank you all for responding. So before we look at the application components and the app workshop here, let's take a step back to broadly explain the entire application process. So through our experience, we've worked to better understand the MBA admissions process from your perspective as an applicant so that we can continue to find ways to best help you through the highs and the lows, from getting test scores together to celebrating with you when you submit. So when you're researching schools and establishing what's important to you in an MBA program, our MBA student ambassadors will also be available to share the steps that they took during their application journey. So starting off, you may have heard that Georgetown approaches the review process very holistically. So for those of you who are interested in applying, we're going to spend the next part of this presentation talking about the app process. And what that means is the admissions committee takes a holistic approach to the application review, and that there is not a single aspect that will make or break your application. So with each piece of your application, we learn a little bit more about your academic history, your professional achievements, your goals, and your personal fit with the program. So we take all that into consideration when we assess whether you can handle the rigor of Georgetown and if our program is the right fit for you. So the pieces of your application can be divided into two primary dimensions here along the rows. the quantitative piece with the numbers, and the qualitative personal aspects of your application. So first, we are going to look at the quantitative aspect. So this is your academic history, evidence through your undergrad GPA and your quantitative classes, your test scores, your English proficiency exam, if that's applicable, and your years of full-time work experience post-undergrad. That is what we measure. So these items show us in the admissions committee if you can handle the rigor of the program. So let's take a look at each of these components. Starting with academic history. Your history is much more than just your cumulative GPA. We also look for upward trends in your GPA, your quantitative successes, the strength of your undergrad institution, and your major to determine if you can handle the rigor of the coursework. We also consider other demands on your time, such as working and involvement in extracurriculars. If you had a tough semester or a specific class or your GPA isn't where you would like, you can include an explanation about that in an optional essay. And that really is your chance to share if something was happening in your life that impacted your academic performance or how you've learned and grown from that experience. Some applicants choose to take additional quant classes or business classes to boost their academic credentials if their undergrad performance was subpar or if they don't come from a quant background. And then finally, we will also take into consideration how long ago you completed your coursework. The longer it's been since you graduated, the more we can look at other indicators like work experience and your recommendation to demonstrate the value that you can add to the classroom conversation. We put our middle 80% ranges here as well, keeping in mind that there will always be 20% that fall outside of that. So if you're above average in one category or below average in another, we understand that you will likely balance out across different categories. Next is test scores. So tests assess your ability to handle the rigor of coursework with a specific focus on your quant abilities. The key thing to remember about test scores is that it's only one data point that we review. And we do accept GMAT, GRE, executive assessment, or EA standardized tests. But we also have option for test waivers, and those are different for each program. All the tests are weighed equally, as well as test waivers, both for admission broadly and for scholarship eligibility. So you should take the test or apply for the waiver, do whatever feels most comfortable to you. Again, we don't have minimum requirements, but most schools list a range like this on their profiles. So keeping in mind that some people are above and below that. And when we review your test scores, we do look at the quant score in connection with your academic background to assess how you might handle quantitative coursework. And then I mentioned English language proficiency. If that applies to you, if you speak English as a second language, then we will focus on the verbal section as well. All non-US, and to give some more information around that, all non-US permanent residents or non-native English speakers are required to submit a current English proficiency exam, but you are exempt from the requirement if you earned your degree from a institution either in the US or from a program where the primary language of instruction is English. And finally, we have your work experience, specifically your years of work experience. So when evaluating the quantity of your work experience, we evaluate your full-time paid experience after earning your undergrad degree. So please make sure that that's clear on your resume with the months and the years that you held each previous position, and please note any internships you had as well. If there are gaps on your resume or if you're not currently employed, please give us more information about what you were doing at that time, either in the optional essay or in the interview, or there are other areas on the application where you can provide that info so that the committee isn't kept guessing. And we do like to see progression, so please include all positions you have held at a particular company and the dates as well. But now we will move on to the more qualitative section of your application, which here involves the letter of recommendation, the interview, as well as your personal essays. So starting with the letter of recommendation. The recommendation essentially provides insight into you as a professional. So we strongly encourage recommendations from a current or previous supervisor. We don't recommend recommendations from faculty members from your undergrad institution. Uh, so if you have just, but then there are special cases too. Like if you have just started a job and haven't worked with your current supervisor for very long, we certainly understand choosing a previous supervisor to complete your recommendation. But also, we understand fear of retaliation, or if disclosing your intent to apply to an MBA program to a current supervisor, if you believe that that will affect your job or your progression at the company. We're understanding of your choice of supervisor, again, as long as you communicate that to us, and usually the optional essay is the best way to do that. I always say that it's a great habit to meet with your recommender and to discuss your goals, to give them a copy of your resume and your essays. It's good to discuss your strengths that you would like to have highlighted or perceived weaknesses that can be addressed. So this will help because it can make your rec be more consistent with the rest of your application. And then when choosing a recommender, a lot of people think, oh, I want to go for title. And that's not always helpful. Make sure that the person knows you and that they can provide insight on your work. So don't just choose someone with an impressive title who can't really speak to your accomplishments. And likewise, don't choose a friend who maybe hasn't, like a friend or a colleague who hasn't worked in a managerial capacity with you either. So we want to learn about your management potential from someone you have worked closely with in the past. The next piece is, of course, your personal essays. So this really is the most personalized section of your application. We have 3 essay options, and please choose whichever prompt helps you best highlight your experiences and values. Always remember to edit, proofread, and answer the question. Please use spell check and please make sure you're not submitting the wrong MBA program's name in the essay. We've gotten McDonald's School of Business. We've gotten uh, other spell check errors. We've gotten essays for other schools before. And while that doesn't automatically disqualify you, certainly you want to reflect your best attention to detail in that area of the application. We also have a 1-minute video essay, and it is, what makes you unique and what are some kind of passions that that you would like to share with us. So in the video especially, please don't just summarize your background or go through your resume because we already have that information. So this is the opportunity to really put your face on the application and to be strategic and intentional about what you share with us. It's always good to, not just for the video, but all your essays, to have a friend or family member review your essays, to get their feedback, and to tell you if it's authentically you. So don't just write what you think the admissions committee wants to hear. Uh, Several times now, I've mentioned the optional essay. Again, it's optional. You don't need to submit it. Please don't feel obligated to, but you should use it if there's any point in your application where you think that the admissions committee might be left guessing or is missing some context. Third, we have the resume. So the resume, we already talked about years of work experience, but your resume represents the depth and the quality of that work experience. So helping us understand what you've gained from your time, how you've influenced your organization, what teams you've been on, and what you've learned from your successes and failures is going to be giving us crucial insight into your application. Learning about your experience is important to us, not just because from a career prep standpoint, but also it helps us measure your contribution in the classroom. A variety of other students' professional backgrounds allows students to learn from each other as they work together in small teams. So when constructing your resume, make sure to quantify your successes. Don't just bullet your job description. We want to hear about your professional achievements. To help us understand the nature of your work, the level of challenge, the supervision, and the progression of responsibility at your positions. And as always, consistent formatting is always appreciated. We have no particular template that we prefer. We just ask that it be consistent and clean. And then the interview. The interview is a really fun part of the application, I think, for both sides. It's really trying to determine mutual fit. So, as much as we're trying to assess you on various criteria, this is the chance to see if Georgetown is going to be the right fit for you. So, one thing, some of the things that we're trying to assess on our end, what you add to the classroom, whether you'd be likely to secure an internship and a post-MBA career, if you're someone that we'd like to have on our team. And we always advise people to prep for the interview as if you were going for a job interview. Try to research MSB, try to anticipate questions you might be asked, practice telling your story to friends and family to really get that experience before you go in cold. So that's it. After finishing all these components, you, sorry, after you finish submitting all these components, click submit. And then I want to cover some of our class profile here too. I already teased this for a second here, but every year our numbers get better and better. Our numbers are strong, and you can see that here with published profiles online for more details. But the important thing to remember about the class profile is that the numbers, again, are not minimums. And ideally, if you do fall below one average, you will fall above in another. But really, more important than any of the numbers on the screen are the qualities that we seek. So we're looking for critical thinkers. We're looking for people with executive presence. We're looking for driven individuals, people who are motivated and professionally accomplished. I'll leave this up for just a second, but you can see the real variety of undergrad fields of study, the number of countries represented, and this is just the full-time class statistics. I'll show the rest in just a second. The international diversity is well represented across programs. We have slightly more people taking the GRE. That's kind of just the class population, the way it fell last year. It could be GMAT or GRE in any given year. Average of 5+ years of work experience, average age 29, average GPA 3.3. But again, I'll just, in the interest of time, keep moving. This is also on our website. For Flex MBA, our class size is closer to 105. Again, a good variety of undergrad studies, similar work experience minimum requirements, similar geographic diversity. I think this is very impressive geographic diversity for a primarily domestic program here. This is the in-person, to clarify, but I will keep on moving here. Flex Online, class size of 50, in part because we just started it a couple years ago. It's a very impressive group of people with 3.4 average GPA, and that has grown over the years. Closer to 6 years of work experience, etc. Still lots of professional and academic diversity of background here as well. And then let's talk about finances. So our annual tuition cost is close to $71,000 for full-time. It's about $64,000 for Flex, and it's about $60,000 for Flex Online. The good news, though, is that McDonough does disperse over $2.5 million of MBA scholarship funds every year, and we use all of that. These scholarships are based on an applicant's academic, personal, and professional accomplishments. Recipients demonstrate ethical leadership and have shown impactful professional achievements on their application. And all applicants to all programs are automatically considered for scholarship, and you don't need to submit any other materials in order to be considered. McDonough is also proud to partner with the organizations listed here on the bottom right to offer scholarships to specialty populations as well. U.S. citizens and permanent residents may also be considered for federal aid. And then we have an Office of Student Financial Services who can help qualified applicants meet their educational costs and living costs with need-based financial aid as well. So later in this session, my colleague from the Career Center will talk about career outcomes of the program and quantify how this might make sense for you in terms of return on investment, curriculum, etc. So again, what happens after you click submit? The first thing you should do is celebrate. Just applying is a huge accomplishment. Next is that we'll review your application for completeness, and you can also log into our portal anytime to check its status. Then we'll begin sending out invitations to interview. So the reality is that not everyone who applies will receive an interview, but you have to be interviewed in order to be admitted. And interviewers could be an admissions committee member, could be me, could be a student, could be our colleagues in the MBA program office or the Career Center, or even alumni. And these invitations will continue to go out right up until the decision notification day. And I just want to emphasize again that your interview date bears no connection to our opinion of you. It's a logistical effect only. So if your interview is happening the day before decisions go out, please don't think that you are our last resort or anything like that. It is absolutely not the case. And then after the application deadline, we'll begin reviewing your applications. There are multiple people who read each and every file, and you'll also be evaluated against the rest of the hundreds of people in the applicant pool. The decision days are on our site, and we'll get into the deadlines shortly here. But if admitted, you will have a couple of weeks to make a decision and ultimately submit a deposit. To be honest, if you're planning on applying next year, the timeline to submit a deposit, you have much more time in the beginning of the cycle than you do the end. You have closer to 6 to 8 weeks instead of just a couple of weeks towards the end of the cycle. And we also have 2 deposits that we can talk about. So I promised a review of our application deadlines. There are 4 admissions rounds. So earlier this year, we had early action. We had round 1, 2, and 3. For the rest of this year, we are looking at a rolling admissions deadline, which are all highlighted here. But the next one, it actually is split out by international and domestic as well, just because of additional processing time, onboarding time associated with international students and visas, etc. So while it is possible to still apply this year and get all your visa paperwork squared away and join for the fall, it is for some people, it might be easier to apply next year. And so finally, want to mention that there's several ways you can get in touch with us. You can chat with our MBA student ambassadors at the first QR code. We also have a number of resources on our websites. You can request more information. We have additional events upcoming if you'd like to learn more from additional panels or whatnot. But this concludes the application workshop piece of the presentation. And it looks like we finished a few minutes early here, so I'm going to check on the Q&A and start answering some questions here. And then at 6:30, we will resume with the overview of the program. Great. Okay, we have I will probably read some of these out. How long do we evaluate the test waiver request? That is a good question. So I'll talk about the test waivers real briefly. If you are applying to the full-time program, we have one application for a test waiver, and we review your academic history holistically. And then what happens is you would have to send us your academic history and the application outside of your full MBA application. You would have to get the waiver approval emailed to you, and then you would attach the screenshot saying you got the approval to your MBA application and then send that in. So that's how it works for full time. The processing for that, it can depend based on the time of year. It could be a couple days, it could be a week or two, depending on staff availability, but no longer than that. I would recommend not waiting till the last moment. You can apply close to the deadline and just inform us that you are working for a test waiver um, approval, and we will, of course, be understanding of that. For the Flex and Flex Online programs, it is an automatic waiver based on your area of major and your cumulative GPA. So if you had a quantitatively intense major such as engineering or physics, finance, etc., and you had a 3.1 or above, as well as two quantitative classes with at least a B, then you automatically qualify. For any other major, it is 3.3, GPA 3.3 minimum and up, uh, and still the quantitative classes B or better. Is the in-person Flex program still accepting applications, and are there still seats in the cohort for fall 2025? Yes, we are still accepting applications. That is through the rolling admissions that I just talked about. Again, I know I blew past the deadlines there. They are currently live on our website, and please make sure to check those out if you're interested. What are the best ways to make your application stand out as a younger applicant? That is a great question. I think a couple of ways you can do that. Showcasing the quality of your work experience in your resume, as well as um, meeting with your recommender and talking about maybe how you are perhaps outperforming some of your colleagues, or what you can do to improve so that they can factor that feedback into their recommendation. There's definitely ways you can focus on quality over quantity, but then being proactive in the workplace, and then sharing with us that you've been, putting yourself out there for new initiatives and whatnot. We do take that into account as well. Let's see, is early action binding? Early action, yes. So if you are admitted early action, you and you choose to accept the offer of admission, then you are expected to withdraw your applications to other schools. Yes. There are several more questions in here, so I'll get to as many as I can before 6:30, and then I'll put a pause on that, and then I will answer in writing in the Q&A during the Career Center section of the presentation. So thank you all for understanding. Do we have the average GMAT information for the GMAT focus? This is a great question. This is a transition year for us where GMAT transitioned the format of tests. Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar. All of our reporting right now is currently done with the previous GMAT statistics, but all the new GMAT scores that we've been receiving, we have been converting via a benchmark converter thing that GMAT has provided us, so that our academic quality stays consistent, and we will start reporting our new GMAT format, the new averages, starting with the next class profile that we put out this summer. That's a great question. And it's public info, by the way. You can look up the converter as well if you were curious how you match up. Yeah, another question on whether it was old or new GMAT. Those are old GMAT scores. Thanks everyone for the questions. There are several more here, about 7 or so. I'll get back to those during the Career Center presentation. All right. Let's get started on the next section here. All right, so thank you again, everyone, for joining. If anyone has joined us since the first portion of the presentation, we're now going to explore the Georgetown MBA experience. What makes our program distinctive, what life looks like as a student here, and how our curriculum and career services prepare you for what comes next. So like I said, you'll hear directly from me, from our Career Center, from current students. So stay tuned for their insights as well. But let's do a quick pulse check. Why are you considering an MBA? Maybe in the chat, if you want to write, who here is maybe thinking about switching functions, switching industries, staying, moving up the ladder, or if we have any aspiring entrepreneurs in the room here. Switching from med school, military to civilian, pivot into consulting, moving up to leadership, merging industry experiences, advancing your path, new industry to a PM chief of staff, industry switcher. All right, it looks like we have a good variety here. Some people looking to advance, some people looking to switch. Georgetown certainly sees every kind of profile, and we have resources for people on all kinds of paths. And you know, I think we tend to see a little bit more of a switcher profile in the full-time MBA, but then for the flex MBAs, we tend to see a much more evenly dispersed split between entrepreneurship, between advancing and switching. So thank you all for sharing. Oop. Don't need to do the poll here. So why Georgetown McDonough? You're here today because you know that you're capable of something more and something bigger. At McDonough, we don't just teach business. We help students transform into leaders who exceed even their own expectations. And that starts with a rigorous education, yes, but also with the people that you'll meet, the experiences you'll have, and the access that you'll gain here in Washington, D.C. So starting with global mindset, Georgetown's location and curriculum attracts students from all over the world. In fact, you saw over 40 countries are represented in our programs, and 84% of students have lived, worked, or studied abroad before they even arrive. So our global perspectives are baked into every classroom discussion. One of the first courses that everyone takes, and I took this myself, is Structure of Global Industries. It's a foundational class that sets the stage for the rest of your MBA journey. Another highlight is our global business experience, which many of you have likely heard about. It is when every student consults with an international organization to solve a real business challenge. You'll work on a team over 6 to 8 weeks, then spend a week on site with your client abroad. And I did my trip in Singapore, actually, working for a major hospitality client. It was a very, very insightful experience. And for those who want to know more, our international treks, they take place during the fall and spring break, and they offer the chance to visit companies, meet Georgetown alums, and see business in action around the globe. The second reason is the advantage of being in Washington, D.C. Our location here is a major differentiator. It's one of the most international and dynamic cities in the world. I'm from here. Personally, this is my home, but it's also home to the World Bank, to the IMF, to embassies, Fortune 500 companies, and global nonprofits. So at Georgetown, location means access. Access to incredible guest speakers, to employers who recruit directly on campus, and to real-world learning opportunities right outside our doors. So from consulting for local nonprofits to working with local transportation systems, for example, to earning academic credit at nearby institutions, our students can make the most of the city every day. And last is all about our principled leadership. So our third core pillar here of the program is principled leadership. As a Jesuit university, Georgetown is deeply committed to developing leaders who use business as a force for good. This comes to life through 4 required leadership courses. I already mentioned Structure of Global Industries, but there are 2 more, including Leading Teams for Performance and Impact and Leadership Communication. The capstone of LeadCom, as we call it, is the Executive Challenge, where students present their recommendations in a simulated boardroom to over 120 C-suite alums who fly in just for the day to evaluate you on your final. Outside of class, you can further hone your leadership skills through roles in clubs, service initiatives, and our Leadership Fellows program, where second-year students mentor and guide first years through their MBA journey. Of course, another huge reason of why Georgetown is our campus. So all of this takes place in the Hariri building, which is Georgetown's historic main campus. Whether you're a full-time or a flex student in person, your classes, professors, advisors, and peers are all going to be under one roof, including your academic and your career advisors. That makes it really easy to stay connected, and it helps with your work-life balance. Most students live in DC or Virginia, and once admitted, we provide detailed housing guides and transportation options to help you get settled. So let's talk a little bit about the overall structure and, which MBA is right for you. We offer, like I mentioned, a full-time MBA, flex MBA, and a flex online MBA. And while the formats are slightly different, the degree is the same. So all of our options offer the same credit requirements, the same professors and courses, access to over 100 electives, and the same career coaching and job opportunities. So I can go through this here. They are all 54 credits. Full-time is a 21-month program. Flex and Flex Online can be done between 24 and 60 months, depending on how you would like the program to fit your personal schedule. Now the day-to-day is going to be different. So full-time, you'll have on-campus daytime classes Monday through Thursday. But I wouldn't say that Friday is an off day because lots of students take that opportunity to network with alums, apply to jobs, go to the Career Center. I see Laura has joined us from the Career Center, so she will be speaking to you about that shortly. Thank you, Laura, for joining us. So that's the full-time schedule. For flex, the assumption is that, and it is required to have a full-time job to be a student in the flex program, but your classes would be in a similar cohort, only instead of 4 full-time cohorts, there are 2 flex cohorts. For flex, you would either be in the Monday, Wednesday cohort in the evening or the Tuesday, Thursday cohort in the evening. If you were to apply and be admitted, you can request to be put into one cohort over the other, but there's never a guarantee because they do have to fill both. Or all 3 programs really are offered many elective options. They're all cohort based. They all have the 1-week-long global residency. That is the GBE that we talked about, the Global Business Experience. The full-time program does have dual degree options. Some of those examples include the MD MBA, the JD MBA, the Public Policy degree and MBA, School of Foreign Service Masters and MBA are just some of the examples. But there's a slight difference here with Flex Online versus Flex as well. Of course, Flex Online, your classes will be primarily online. However, if you're in the DC area, you can potentially join Flex in person or full-time classes, depending on your schedule. And likewise, any of these programs can potentially join another program's classes if there is seating left, but the priority is always given to students of that program first. It's date-based, how they release the seats. And then Flex Online, I should point out, has 2 additional residencies here in DC, and that's to help you network in person with your colleagues. I should offer that all of our programs offer certificate programs in areas like sustainable business, consumer analytics, real estate. And if you're interested in technical fields, you can complete a STEM designated elective course offering to become STEM certified, which can be a major asset when you're recruiting for tech or quantitative roles. And that can also have benefits for international visa, OPT considerations as well. So I've mentioned the global business experience a couple of times. This is a snippet of what it might look like, depending on what options are available to you. But to dive a bit deeper into GBE, since its inception, over 5,000 students have completed projects in 27 cities across 5 continents. Projects range from market entry strategy to supply chain innovation, all with real client deliverables. And it's a standout experience that builds confidence, cultural awareness, and practical consulting skills. It's also something that you'll talk about in interviews and that recruiters love to ask about. So some of the companies that we've partnered with in the past include Uber, Citibank, Marriott, Estee Lauder, Gulf Capital, Colgate, Tata International. We talked here about recent locations. Singapore was my personal trip. We've done Lima, Shanghai, Madrid, Berlin, Dubai, Sao Paulo, etc. I think at one point several years ago, we did a project with Lamborghini, and they were so impressed that once in a while, the CEO of Lamborghini actually comes to speak on campus and has brought blue and gray Lambo cars to park outside of the business school building for everyone to take pictures with. And that is always fun when they've done that in the past. Speaking a little bit more about our alumni network, it's a major strength of our experience. Hoyas are working across 78 industries in cities around the world, and you'll have connections wherever you go. Whether it's LinkedIn or our platform Hoya Gateway or other in-person meetups, our alumni are responsive, engaged, and eager to help. So one thing that I'm sure you'll hear our current students talk about is how collaborative our culture is. And one way that I have found that that manifests itself in our interactions with alums is that they're very responsive, and even to cold messages on LinkedIn, the response rate is very, very high. So one of our favorite phrases is also Hoyas helping Hoyas, and it's more than a saying, it really is a reality. Georgetown's also known for its close-knit and diverse community. So on top of the over 40 countries of citizenship that are represented, we have over 40 student organizations, from professional clubs like finance and consulting to affinity groups like Out at MSB, Women in Business, and the Black MBA Association. These clubs offer leadership opportunities, they offer you career support, connections, and a lot of fun. Every Thursday night, the university hosts what we call kegs, which is keeping everyone at Georgetown social on Thursday evenings. But they will also host spring formals and our annual McDonough Cup, where the cohorts will compete against each other in a variety of activities. And for students with families, we offer events like the Fall Festival, and our Career Center welcomes partners to take part in programming and job support. So finally, if you're interested in going deeper into a specific area like entrepreneurship, sustainability, or real estate, you can certainly get involved in one of our centers. And these provide direct access to expert faculty, industry partnerships, and hands-on experience like business plan competitions or live deal underwriting clinics. And I mentioned earlier some of the dual degree options that we have. Here's another chart displaying some of those options. Also, little known fact, we actually do a MBA study abroad. I'll be honest and say that not a huge portion of the student body take advantage of this, but if this is an experience that maybe you didn't have when you were in undergrad, it is certainly something that you can experience here for a semester. So you can potentially study abroad at a university, a partner university, listed here. Some of the locations, including here, Milan, London, Paris, Copenhagen, etc. Here is a little bit more information about the curriculum map. Again, I already talked about the pacing a little bit in the other slide. Here's a little bit more of what to expect. Some of your classes will last the entire semester, whereas some of them will only last for one module, which we call a module essentially half of a semester. It's about a 6-week period. And then we have these intensive learning experiences during certain breaks. For example, spring break is a great time to do one. There are also options in the summer and the winter to do an ILE. And an ILE is essentially you do an entire class in either 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the amount of content. And it's a great way to earn between 1.5 and 3 credits. So this can be particularly helpful if you're trying to explore a specific subset of electives or specific knowledge area. I think the spring ILEs are really fun. Personally, they teach some great They have a data visualization one that I really enjoyed, and you get to become familiar with Tableau and how to use those skills on the job. A little bit more from the perspective of Flex. I know I've had uh, some classmates myself in the Flex in-person program who have used ILEs to finish the program in advance of the 3-year plan. So the 3 year is sort of like the standard pacing, but I've had friends in the Flex program do it in as short as 2 years because they're able to take ILEs during every break that they can. There is a cap on ILEs. You can only do maximum 12 credits worth of ILEs, which would be 4 different 2-week ILE classes. And you can do also what's called overloading, which the note here says after the first module, if you have a GPA of 3.0 or higher, you may take another class to speed up your degree completion. We call this overloading with the program office. And I would say some take advantage of that option, not all, but some, they kind of develop a social circle around it and they do all their classes more intensely together, and having that support network can really help you if you're trying to finish the degree in the closer to the 2-year period. All right, so in just a second, I will hand it off to Laura from the Career Center. Thank you, Laura, again for joining us. But I will just take a minute to look at the questions again. I may answer one or two out loud, um, and then I will type the answers to the rest as Laura gets started. So we have a question here. What are some steps you can take to improve your candidacy and show commitment when waitlisted? This is a great question. We offer waitlist coaching resources. We offer webinars with our admissions committee staff, with senior admissions committee staff to give you specific tips on what you can do to improve your candidacy. But we also offer something called the waitlist update period. So in each admissions round, we open a kind of like a form submission and file drop where you can be proactive in reaching out to us, explaining anything that has changed in your candidacy and your profile since you've applied. Have you taken on additional responsibilities at work? Have you maybe retaken a standardized test? Or have you earned any professional certifications maybe since you last applied? Those are some examples of steps that you can take to strengthen your profile. But again, all of that would be covered in a waitlist coaching webinar as well. And then another question, does a low GPA during undergrad, something like a 2.2, make it impossible to get in? Again, I go back to what I said with if you're below the 80% spread in one category, we highly expect you to be above the 80% in another category. So I wouldn't let one statistic deter you from applying, given our holistic review process. But just know that with something like that, we will be looking for other indicators of your academic ability. And with that, we're at 6:50. I think we're still a little bit before Laura's supposed to go, but Laura, if you're ready, we
Whatever's
can
best
start
for
you
you.
off.
If you want to answer some more questions or if you want me to kick off my presentation, whatever is best for you.
Yeah, why don't we get started and I'll just answer the questions here in text. And if you'd like, I can keep my screen up and just let me know when to switch slides.
That sounds great. Well, thank you so much for having me, and hello to everybody who is on this call. My name is Laura Venice. I am the Senior Director of Career Curricula and Communications at the McDonough Career Center. And I know that's a lot of words. Essentially, what I do is I represent the amazing folks at the Career Center on calls like this in outreach to prospective students. And I also welcome current students as they're entering their MBA experience here at the McDonough School of Business. I'm going to speak to you about what we offer at the McDonough Career Center, but let me just start by saying that I've been working in higher education for around 20 years, which is a lot of years. And what I can confidently say is I've never worked with such a student-centered, amazing group of people. Something that's really special about the McDonough Career Center, which I'll get into in full detail, is our team works both with student coaching and with employer outreach and partnerships in tandem. And that means that we're as up to date as humanly possible on what's going on in the industry and able to make sure our students are empowered to do what they need to do to be successful in whatever their career goals are. So if there's one thing you remember from my portion of tonight, it's that the team at the McDonough Career Center is really here to support students as they're reaching their goals through our model. And we can go to the next slide and I'll tell you a little bit more about what we're going to discuss. So we'll talk a bit about the summer career curricula and onboarding. In a nutshell, what that alludes to is even before you would start your MBA program, whether you're full-time MBA, flex or flex online MBA, we reach out to all students and invite you to participate in tasks, lessons, actions, deliverables that you can do over the summer to get to know exactly what it is that your goals are in terms of your career and what steps you can take to achieve those goals. We also are going to talk tonight about our industry and function expertise, the alignment with our industry practice leads, and I'll tell you a bit about career coaching and your personalized job search framework. And so if we move to the next slide, we'll talk about the summer start. So I think this is really special. Something that we offer to our students is our summer career course. In fact, we're even starting it very, very soon for students who are starting their MBA program this fall. And the summer career course is a series of asynchronous short videos that students can do on their own pace. For example, some students like to do a little bit here and there, and some want to spend the whole weekend just really absorbing the information. And the asynchronous videos teach you our career curricula in the step-by-step process that you would need to identify what your strengths are, what your top values are in terms of your career so that you can enter your career search really picky in knowing what you want to do while maintaining some flexibility for having some plans that are also in line with your values. We make sure that you end with a McDonough resume that is ready for any recruiting that you would be doing, whether you're a full-time MBA looking for a summer internship or a flexible online MBA thinking about that internal promotion or making a change during your program. Whatever it is, when you participate in the summer career course, you're going to have everything that you need to hit the go button when you're ready. And for our full-time MBAs, we offer a first coaching appointment before you even come to campus. And for our flexible and flex online MBAs, we offer a resume review via email from one of our industry practice leads as well. So the summer start, really what that means is we want you to focus on your academics when you come to Georgetown or when you start your MBA journey this, August, let's say. And we really don't want you to worry too much about what your resume is looking like at that point. And so we try to get that all taken care of over the summer. And so on the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about what that personalized job search framework looks like. So we want all of our students to have a career portfolio. So this is a resume, some cover letter drafts, a really solid LinkedIn, a drafted tell me about yourself response that you can use in email outreach or when networking with folks. We want you to have that all taken care of and think about what your value is and how you communicate that value out in your career portfolio. So that's something we do for you. So some of that is we give you framework, but also you really need customized job search advice with industry practice leads or career coaches. We also help you with industry function and geography targets. And so everyone's going to have a really unique kind of fingerprint of what they want their career to look like and what that looks like for you. For example, with geography, if you want to be in the DC area, or if you want to be in New York or San Francisco or abroad, wherever you want to be, or if you're thinking about doing a fully remote position, we're going to support you in those goals. The target company list. This is, off the top of your head, of course, you probably have 10, 15 companies sound really cool, or you have friends that work there and they're happy. We want to expand what you're already thinking about to companies you might not have even discovered yet with our research tools that we have curated for you to use while you're here at Georgetown. We offer access to employers. We have a really robust recruitment offering for our students that students take advantage of as soon as they are ready. For example, if you're a full-time MBA, you would participate in our recruitment activities right away, searching for your summer internship. And then we also offer networking tools. Greg mentioned earlier about Hoya Gateway and also, of course, LinkedIn. Hoya Gateway is a place where alumni are housed, and they're ready and willing to have conversations with students. You don't even really need to worry about that cold outreach, that worry that you're going to bother someone with your reaching out for learnings and curiosity. And also LinkedIn, of course, is a wonderful place to go. We have really robust Georgetown groups on LinkedIn that students take advantage of. So on our next slide, I will go ahead and introduce you to our team. So you've met me, I'm Laura, and then these are our industry and function aligned industry practice leads. So we have Maureen, who works within the financial services area, and she also assists our students interested in real estate. We have Larry, who is focused on consulting. Trudy, who is focused on technology, healthcare, media, entertainment, and sports. Asha, who focuses on social impact, not-for-profit, industry or international development, government, energy, and clean tech. Sarah, our second consulting expert, also she focuses on the entrepreneurship initiatives and venture capital. And Keisha, who focuses on marketing as a function, CPGs, hospitality, manufacturing, and transportation. And this team of 6, they are your go-to experts in anything having to do with your focus on one or more of these different industries, and in the case of marketing as a function and financial services as well. So what this looks like is you would go on our service, which is called McDonough Career View. It's a website you log into with your Georgetown credentials to book appointments with these folks to talk about their industries that are interesting to you and come up with a tailored game plan for how you're going to look for that next opportunity and market yourself appropriately, given your past experiences and accomplishments that you've had, and how to tailor that to the new audience. We also have peer advisors, currently 42 second-year MBA students from the full-time program who act as supportive peer advisors in each of these industries and functions as well. And so our students have access to 6 industry practice leads and over 40 different peer advisors. You're never going to have a problem finding an appointment as you need it. And if you have a time-sensitive issue, our staff is really flexible to make sure they're helping you with that time-sensitive salary negotiation or whatever it might be. So this is our team. It's a unique model where our industry practice leads are intimately involved in employer conversations to understand what's going out there in the marketplace, and able to get to know students and educate students on their learnings from employers as well. And so that's a bit about the industry and function alignment. On our next slide, we will talk a bit about coaching by the numbers. So I mentioned that we're always open for coaching, and you can see we had over 6,000 coaching appointments in the year ending in 2024. We had 373 employer events, 354 on-campus interviews, and over 2,000 internship and job postings. So we stay busy working for our students to make sure that employers, interview opportunities that you can apply to, and ways to get the advice and the confidence boost that you need before entering into interviewing and making sure your applications are in good shape. And on the next slide, let's take a look at the outcomes. Our most recent class, the class of 2025, enjoyed internships last summer. 96% of them secured opportunities in financial services, consulting, and social impact as our top 3 industries where our students had summer internships. Their average monthly salary was around $8,000. So really, really solid internship outcomes. And this class is gearing up to graduate next month, and we can't wait to see what their full-time outcomes will look like. But on the next slide, you'll see our class of 2024 full-time MBA class and their full-time outcomes. So Greg, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. So here's what it looked like for the class of 2024. Around 89% received an offer within 3 months of graduation, with a median full-time salary of $148,000. And you'll see the industry breakdown there as well. Consulting was our top industry, followed by financial services. Now, it's interesting here, consumer packaged goods and manufacturing and technology all tied for our third place industries. Normally, technology is in our top 3 industries, but due to the hiring atmosphere this time last year in the tech sector, it took a bit of a hit. But you'll see that, again, around 89% received an offer within 3 months of graduation, which is a really, really solid outcome for our class of 2024. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about career changing. And so whether you're considering the full-time MBA program, the flexible MBA program, or the flexible online MBA program, whatever it is that you'd like to do, you can make that change. So you'll see examples on the screen of folks who before their MBA were in one industry, and either they stayed close to that industry that they really enjoyed, but maybe found a different home for themselves, or maybe they changed industries altogether and really elevated their career in a way that they hoped to on their way into Georgetown. And I hope that this inspires you. If you're sitting at home listening to this and saying like, oh, well, it wouldn't be me, or I don't know if I can do it, or how exactly do you get from point A to point B in this way? The McDonough Career Center is really here to support that journey, especially if you have a pretty solid vision of what you would like your future to look like. That's really exciting for us because we can really help you see the transferable skills, the transferable knowledge, and your accomplishments that will be really attractive to your target audience and help you market yourself in the most appropriate way. Will help you think about companies you've never even dreamed of or heard of, and will help you get prepared and confident so that you can really succeed in your interview processes and have lots of options to choose from. So that's really our role, is to support you on in your achieving of goals. And that's what we're here for. So hopefully this presentation was helpful. If there are any questions in the Q&A that I can answer, I would be absolutely thrilled to do so. And Hoya Saxa to everyone on the call.
Thank you, Laura, for joining and for sharing your insights. I know we have about 10 minutes for questions here, and Laura, I don't know if you can see the Q&A chat, but we have gotten a couple questions about careers, so I can read these out for you here.
Sure, I can see them too if it's easier.
Okay, yeah,
Whatever
go
you'd
for
like.
it.
Okay. I do see one question about the personalized job search framework and how it occurs during the summer start, or is it continuous throughout the first term? And that's a really great question. And what's really wonderful about the summer career course is that it's always available to you. So our recommendation is to complete it during the summer prior to starting your program. However, it is there for you to look back upon whenever you need to. The reason we front load this information is because some students will be in very intense job search processes very quickly. And we want to make sure you have that information at your fingertips. But if you're someone whose recruitment process is later, or if you're a working professional in one of our flexible MBA programs, you might not be ready for some of the content that's there. It might not be relevant to you to get prepared to interview for jobs yet. And so that's why it's asynchronous and it's always available. We have suggested deadlines to kind of keep you on track, but it's not a course for credit, and so we're not holding your, feet to the flames on those deadlines either. So we trust that as adults that you'll do what you need to do when you need to do it, and we're here to give you nudges and reminders and pushes just to help you stay accountable. So hopefully that helps. Once we get to the fall, we have a lot of programming, so I won't overwhelm you with that, but there's always something going on in careers. Most Fridays there are things going on. Employers are always coming to campus. We have workshops that we do throughout the entire year as well. One thing I'll share is we have these really amazing programs that are one McDonough programs, meaning they're open to MBA students, but they're also open to students from our specialized master's programs, even our undergraduate students, where we bring all students together. It's typically online for really wonderful conversations and learnings. So for example, last fall, we had a whole week in September called Career Kickoff, and I'm planning the same program for this year. And one of our special guest speakers was Jeremy, the LinkedIn guy, who talked to us about coupling ChatGPT with LinkedIn to really double down on having an efficient and tailored job search. So we're always bringing in fresh content and information to help students along the way. And whenever it's online, we record those programs and we house them in a centralized location so that students can look back on those programs when they have time if they're not able to join live. So hopefully that helps. We have a similar program in the spring, in February, and then we sprinkle other programs throughout the year. Okay, let's see. For people looking for careers in defense, is there someone with knowledge on that industry? Yeah, that's a really good question. So if you're looking for careers in defense, we would first recommend that you meet with Asha Noor, who is our industry practice lead, most relevant to that area. Now, if you're interested in defense consulting, we would recommend you meet with Larry, who is the best person to talk to in the consulting arm as related to the defense sector. Additionally, we'll always have peer advisors. We've just hired our new peer advisors for next year, so they'll be rising second-year MBAs, and we'll have an industry alignment chart which lists not only the industry practice leads, but also the peer advisors for each industry and interesting career for you. So you won't have to guess at who you should be meeting with, and if it's ever confusing, you can just ask us and we'll make recommendations. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Another question we have is, I'm curious to hear more about the coaching available. Is there one dedicated coach each student might have? What structure of coaching is like, and what core outcomes does the student coach typically work on together? So we have an open coaching model, which means any student in any of our 3 MBA programs can meet with any of our coaches or peer advisors on demand. So we're not going to gatekeep anyone from you. If you want to meet with someone, there's a centralized place where you go to book your appointment with them. And when you book an appointment, it'll ask you what kind of topic you want to discuss. And if you're not sure, there's an area called general career coaching where you can go in with a loose agenda and work on a framework together with that career coach to come up with a plan for the next 5, 6, 7 months and determine what future meeting topics might look like. And so some of those meeting topics might be going over your resume or tailoring application materials to a specific opportunity. Or maybe you need assistance identifying alumni who are working at target companies that you're looking to, network with. And so if you're meeting with a coach, they can help you through whatever is top of mind. If you're preparing for an interview, that coach would want to know that in advance when you're booking the appointment so that they can come to the appointment prepared with some sample questions that you might anticipate in that specific job interview. And of course, our favorite thing is when you have an offer on the table and we can help you negotiate that offer. So really, it's from the top to the bottom of the entire job search process. Okay, can we reach out to the industry experts now regarding the outlook of their particular industry? Well, I love that question because it means that you're really, really thinking ahead. What I would recommend is maybe emailing me. So again, I'm Laura Venice, and I can drop my email address in the chat in a little bit, or you can find me online. We'll see what makes the most sense, Greg. But I think reaching out to them now might be premature. Part of that is that we're working really, really hard to assist the class of 2025 as they're thinking about graduating in just a few weeks. And so I'm not sure if it's the best idea to be reaching out this early to talk to an industry expert. Usually what we do is we want you to go through your summer career course. And after you finish the deliverables in that course, there are a few, we then invite you to make your first coaching appointment, which usually takes place in July. So July would be a really appropriate time. Now, if you're a flexible MBA or a flexible online MBA and you're planning on coming to Georgetown this fall or joining us online, and you find yourself suddenly navigating a layoff and needing some career coaching, then we would consider that a special circumstance, and we would love to help you and see what advice we can give you while you're looking for a new role right away. But if you're coming this fall as a full-time MBA and you're curious about the outlook for a particular industry, I think that's something we could probably take care of a little bit over email. And then I think if it did escalate into something that required a phone call, we can make those decisions together. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's see. I saw that MBS, I think you mean McDonough. Okay, so let's see, works a lot with Uber, Marriott, etc. I'd also like to know about what sorts of social sector partners Georgetown may have, or if there have been social impact roles available in some of those profit companies. That's a really great question. I think it's a little bit too specific for me to answer in this setting, but what I can say is our strongest partnership, in my opinion, is with the World Bank Group, where we have it's almost like a board of alumni who went to Georgetown and now work at the World Bank, and they partner with us on initiatives all the time. So we have a lot of support from them on understanding the hiring market at the World Bank and how to best enable our students to get roles there. Are there career opportunities and resources focused on political consulting? That's a really great question. I think that we can definitely coach you to enable the resources that we have, and also partner with our friends at the School of Foreign Service to see if there are any really great resources they would share as well. There's a lot of partnerships that go across the different schools, but our consulting experts, Larry and Sarah, would help you find the resources that you need in that area. And I believe that's the end of the career-related questions.
I believe so, and I've been catching up on the typing here as well. I know we have, I believe, a little bit, maybe 10 more minutes before the current students show up for the panel. We can use this break as another opportunity, either for further career questions or admissions or program questions. Happy to field whatever people need. Laura, I know another common question that we get is, what's the economy going to look like in 2 years?
Oh, I would love to have the crystal ball. I think it's a great time to go back to school. I think this is a wonderful moment for furthering education. And we remain cautiously optimistic for our class of 2025, who are doing an amazing job finding and successfully interviewing for wonderful opportunities, and we're seeing offers come through. It is a really tough job market right now, but it can't be forever. So I do think 2027 is going to be an amazing time. I'm going to try to stay really positive on what that might look like. I do remember in 2008, when we had a very difficult job market, it did bounce back. So I want to say what goes up must come down, but I suppose it's the reverse, Greg. Yeah, so we're hopeful. For example, we saw the tech sector really seizing their hiring efforts last year, and it's already stronger this year. So I think it is going to be industry specific. Federal government hiring right now is down. And so but consulting maintains the way it has been. Unless the consulting is purely driven by federal contracts, we're seeing that it is still steady.
I think we did get a question in the chat about venture capital.
Yes. So venture capital, we do have amazing opportunities. We have an opportunity called the Venture Fellows, which if you go on the Georgetown McDonough website and just do a quick search for Venture Fellows, you'll see what that looks like any other opportunity, we do a really strong job of advertising opportunities and amplifying opportunities both internal to Georgetown and things that we offer, like the Venture Fellows or any of our entrepreneurship initiatives, and anything we're hearing about outside of the Georgetown campus through a weekly newsletter that we send out every single Thursday. Venture Fellows is deadline driven. They supply support for students who are interested in venture capital. That's kind of the Cliff's Notes of what the Venture Fellows program is. Our Entrepreneurship Center has a lot of extra coaching opportunities for folks who are interested in entrepreneurship initiatives. They have a program called Bark Tank, which is like Shark Tank, but of course for Georgetown, and really amazing summits where they bring in a lot of experts and successful entrepreneurs. There's a lot going on in that space at Georgetown.
And I think to add to your answer, Laura, with the venture fellows, I always have to remind myself this, but I think if you're an international student, you have to have completed 1 year of your academic studies before the start of the venture program or something like that. The full requirements are listed on the Venture Fellows site. If you Google that, to whoever asked that question, I'm sorry I cleared it already. But if you Google it, you can learn more about the criteria there.
Yes, there's always criteria. I'm not as up to date on all the rules, but we do have a member on our team, Sarah, who is, and she helps manage the Venture Fellow application and selection process. So we are intimately involved in that offering. But yeah, I myself, I don't know the details of what the application requirements look like.
It looks like we have a quick question about the program. Do classes tend to be more focused on technical skills or abstract strategy? I would say very few classes focus on abstract concepts. I'd say we're very much focused on experiential learning. Now, some classes will be more technical than others. I mentioned a data visualization course where you spend the entire 2 weeks working in Tableau, for example. That can be incredibly technical. Some of the more analytics aligned courses, you may be learning Excel modeling or coding in R or Python. So it really is just dependent on the individual class. But overall, this is definitely a case study driven, hands-on degree. I hope that answers your question.
Great.
And then the next one is for you, Laura.
Yes, I am seeing a question. As someone who was recently laid off due to changes at the federal level, I had been planning to apply to MBA programs later this year. What advice would you give to someone who's now being nudged to make that decision a little sooner than planned? Well, I really empathize with your situation because dealing with a layoff, especially right now, must be very stressful. I'm encouraged that you were planning to apply to MBA programs anyway, eventually. So I think my advice is to go ahead and apply and make the hard decisions about what kind of commitment you're going to make when you need to. So, as planners, sounds like you're a planner. I'm a planner too. And sometimes it's really hard to not like pre-plan everything, right? So I would say put some stuff out there, see what sticks. Perhaps you're also applying to new roles in addition to applying to MBA programs. And when you have positive responses coming back to you, it'll be easier for you to weigh the pros and cons of the decisions that you're going to make. So hopefully that helps. Selfishly, I say just come on to Georgetown. We'd love to have you apply, and hopefully you receive a positive response and feel that maybe all of this happened for a reason at the time that it happened. But these are all very, very personal choices, and everyone has different timelines for how they would like to approach these decisions. Greg, anything to add to that?
I'll just say that we started asking a question in our application of if you are a recently separated federal worker, and we will absolutely take that into your evaluation, take that into account for your evaluation. And of course, if you ever have more context to share with us, always please fill out an optional essay. Thanks for asking.
Great. And then another question about the venture fellows and where they end up post-graduation. I would say that most are probably pivoting into adjacent areas as mentioned in this question. But yes, we definitely have venture fellows go into work in VC, but those opportunities are incredibly competitive. And so I certainly just wouldn't want to say like, oh yeah, if you do that, you're definitely going to get a job in VC. I think there's a healthy mix of the job opportunities that venture fellows move on to pursue. And then in terms of career support after graduation, there is career support after graduation. And what that looks like is, let's say you graduate in May. For several months, you receive the same exact kind of support that you would have received while a current student. And then we will let you know when we've officially converted you in our system to be an alum of the McDonough School of Business, in which case you still receive support. It's just in a bit of a different capacity. So we have executive career coaches that we collaborate with who would spend time meeting with our alumni population on a request basis. So we're never leaving you lost in the lurch or anything like that. But the way that service looks changes a bit once you actually become an alum several months after graduating from your program. And then in terms of resources Georgetown offers for those who want to pursue entrepreneurship, there's so many that I definitely cannot refer to all of them. I mentioned a few earlier. Please look at the eShip. So entrepreneurship, it's eShip at georgetown.edu. Please look at the entrepreneurship initiatives on our website, and hopefully that will help get you excited for what those opportunities look like. I can say that it's a mix of programming, experiential learning and opportunity, and coaching. And so it really is a holistic approach of looking at entrepreneurship.
I will add from the academic side as well. I've taken several classes on entrepreneurship, and I've taken classes directly with Jeff Reed, who is the director of the Entrepreneurship Center here at Georgetown. So great resources you can connect with through the curriculum as well. But I will add that I've seen other courses, his was more of an intro level class that I took, but there are additional classes for startups that are more in the growth stage and trying to scale, and what are some strategies around that. So you can absolutely incorporate that into your academic experience as well. And then how big is the class size for the core classes during the first year? Yeah, thank you for asking this question. So, the general class sizes I had put on the class profiles that I shared with you earlier, the target for our full-time class is 4 cohorts. A cohort is about 60 to 70 students. And so you will take when you enter the program, you will be divided into one of these cohorts. And your cohort is like your built-in family, and they are the group that you take all of your core classes with. So to directly answer your question, it'll be about 60 to 70 students that you will be taking these core classes with. But the class size generally shrinks when you enter electives. It could be as small as 15. It could be as big as 60 plus for the electives as well, depending on kind of the demand for the class and what time of year. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question as well. But Laura, we've kept you a little past time. I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. You have my thanks and the thanks of everyone on this call. Thank you for patiently answering everyone's questions and for providing your insight. I think it's a really important part of exploring Georgetown, and we appreciate you taking time out of your evening to join us.
Thank you for having me. And before I go, I have an eye on my email at the same time, and our student panelists are here, but they're here as attendees.
Ah,
So we
okay.
may need to promote them as panelists in the Zoom, um, which I attempted to do, but it did not seem to successfully convert.
Yes, let me see what I can do.
Great.
Pull up the list so I don't miss anyone. Promote.
Here they come.
Hey,
Thank you
Greg.
for letting me
Hey,
know. Hi,
Laura.
guys. Sorry, we did not give you the right permissions out the gate.
No worries at all. Excited to be here this evening.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for having me and have a great night.
Thank you, Laura. Have a great night. Okay, I should have just one more. Hi, everyone. How's your night going?
Hey, everybody.
Good, good. Evening, everyone.
All
I
well,
am so.
gearing up for executive challenge.
Oh, that's this Friday, isn't it?
It is, it
Yes.
is.
How are you all feeling about it?
Nervous, excited.
Optimistically nervous. Yeah.
All right. Am I missing anyone? I think I got you all. Again, I apologize for any delay. Laura let me know that she was checking her email and I did not have it up. So I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for joining and for taking time to join us. So to introduce you guys to everyone here, we are here with a bunch of prospective students, prospective applicants, I should say, people evaluating a number of different decisions right now, whether they want an MBA at all, whether they want Georgetown, kind of how this might fit their unique plans and situations. So we've been talking for about an hour and a half here about the program overall and Career Center resources, et cetera. But having this portion of the presentation is incredibly helpful to hear from your guys' firsthand experience. I'm a flex student, so I've been doing my best here, but I think it's helpful to get the full-time experience as well. And again, appreciate you guys taking the time to join, and I will be asking you some questions if that's all right. And not everyone has to answer every question. Whoever wants to chime in, absolutely feel free. We'll be going here just about until 8 o'clock, so we'll call it a half hour. And then I want to be respectful of your time on a weeknight before a big academic event and let you all have time back. But why don't we start with if you all want to just introduce yourselves and say why did you choose to pursue an MBA and why Georgetown?
I don't mind starting. My name is Falaho Akiemi, but everyone calls me Fola here at MSB. Before I'm a first year full-time MBA. Before I started my MBA, I am a CPA by trade. So I did public accounting for 6 years. Post MBA, I plan to go into venture capital. One of the big reasons why I chose Georgetown was because of one, I'm a DC local. I grew up in the DMV. I plan on being in the DMV for the rest of my life. And just in case, for those that don't know, DMV stands for DC, Maryland, Virginia area. But I plan on being here for it's a sizable portion of my life. So I think Georgetown's the best school in the area. So I was like, why not go there and build my network there? But another reason was I think it was the community aspect of Georgetown. The Jesuit values or the value-based business really, really resonated with me. I love the fact that they were said like do good, do well, do well, do good globally, where it's like, yes, it's okay to make some money, but in the end, how are you, lifting as you climb? How are you giving back to the community? That was very, very important to me. So they've shown that throughout.
I can go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Katarina Montague. I am also a full-time first-year student, and it's crazy that the first year is almost over. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and I come from software consulting. And post-MBA, I'm hoping to kind of leverage that tech side, but in a more creative way. So I'm looking towards marketing. And I think I chose getting an MBA because I think I was just so curious about how the world worked, and I realized that there's so much I didn't understand. And so I wanted to kind of go back to school in general and learn more. But I also knew that this would be a great way to kind of improve myself professionally, to be better, at speaking and presenting and to kind of gain some confidence, which I do feel like I have gained here at Georgetown, because there's a lot of opportunities to kind of put yourself in situations that you wouldn't normally be comfortable in. And I think that I chose Georgetown because I agree with the community element of it. And I really do feel that they like practice what they preach. So when I see what I like on the website, what's written there is what I actually feel every day.
I am happy to jump in next. We'll just keep moving along these photos. Liz Gardner here. I'm a first year flex student. So I work full-time in healthcare consulting, part-time attending classes Monday and Wednesday nights at Georgetown. I can't say enough positive things about my experience and the program thus far. I decided to do a part-time MBA. I was in between full and part-time, but just sort of felt like my role in my career was in the right track, but I wanted to get that broader worldview some of the other students here have spoken to. So I'm able to sort of explore what I might want to do next in my career while still sort of having a foothold in what I'm currently doing. I do intend to stay in the healthcare space, so I'm also pursuing the Business of Healthcare certificate, which is one of the certificate programs that Georgetown offers, and some of the coursework that I'm pursuing. And then in terms of choosing Georgetown specifically, it really was that community and the culture. I feel like just reading the website alone, I kind of got the sense that it was a welcoming environment where people were competitive but collaborative and wanted to succeed.
Thanks, Liz. Happy to jump in. I'm Neonika. I'm originally from India, and I worked across multiple sectors before coming to business school. I started off in the private sector, was an engineer, and started working as a tech consultant for a manufacturing company, and then eventually moved into the public sector where I got a chance to work with a lot of governments, international development clients, and some nonprofits. So it was a mixed bag. And I thought after 7 years of working across various industries and sectors, I was ready to sort of expand and make a global career, which is what brought me to my MBA program search and eventually hunt down Georgetown, because I feel it does a very good job of balancing business and impact. We have so many courses which are along the lines of that, as well as some experiential learning opportunities like small business corps, where we get to work with local businesses in the DMV area. So that's pretty cool, and that's definitely one of the reasons what drew me to Georgetown. And post MBA, I'm looking to be in consulting for the first couple of years, and then eventually go back into the impact sector which is why, again, I chose Georgetown. But happy to be here today and sharing more.
I'll go next. Hello, everyone. My name is Alicia Reynolds. I am a full-time first year. Before starting my MBA at Georgetown, I was in the talent acquisition and client development field, actually here in DC. And for me, I hit a point in my career where I couldn't see that upward trajectory in the path that I had pursued thus far. And so I really wanted to pivot professionally and really hone in on those business fundamentals. And so after talking to a few mentors of mine, decided to pursue a full-time MBA was that next step for me. And when looking at different programs similar to FOLA, wanted to be in DC, Georgetown being the best program here in the area, had some good friends and family that had gone through the Georgetown program. And every conversation that I had with current students, alumni, even professors, were really engaging and really drew me in. And not to echo everything everyone has said thus far, but it was truly that community, that sense of community that I gathered from every conversation that I had. And then, of course, that global aspect was really appealing to me. And so post MBA, I am looking to pursue corporate strategy. So that's what I will be doing this summer during my internship and hopefully post MBA full time.
Okay, I'll go next. My name is Tomas. I'm a flex year 27. So I have a little bit of an untraditional background. So I spent most of my career on Capitol Hill in the Senate specifically. And I currently work for General Motors Government Affairs Department. And for me, like going back to school after being away for 10 years, it was a tough choice, but I wasn't really getting the fulfillment that I wanted in my career. And I want to pivot into more of a strategy, business development type of role. And Georgetown was just one of the best programs nearby. But in addition to that, what really attracted me to Georgetown was the global learning experience and the international component of it. So that's, you get to meet like so many people from different parts, and it's a very diverse community. And I mean, same thing with I'm not trying to just also echo what my colleagues here are saying, but it's literally that the Jesuit principles are built into Georgetown, and like how we get along and in terms of value and like looking out for each other. That's what ultimately solidified for me to make the game time decision to go through with the program. So far it's been an awesome experience, and it's been such a blessing.
Thank you all. You knocked out a couple of my questions with what area are you coming from? What are you hoping to do? So thank you all for the thorough coverage of that. I thank you for mentioning the GBE, Tomas. My next question was about your favorite class, and maybe if we add other than GBE, because I think that a lot of people know about GBE already.
I guess I can answer that since I just went. That's a tough one because so far I've had a great experience, and I don't have the quant background that a lot of my colleagues have in the program because I was a social sciences major. But one of my favorite classes wasn't even because of the subject; it was more so because of the professor, and that's our statistics professor Victor. And he was so awesome, and he was such a great teacher, and it really like helped me get my foot in and really understand from the perspective on the business side and how to interpret the numbers and what that means for certain things. So stats, that was definitely my favorite class.
I can jump in next. I'm gonna do one of the core classes, and I'm actually gonna do the one that a lot of us first years are doing. Not a lot of us, all first years are doing right now, which is leadership's communications. First year of full time is leadership communication, or just lead comms. I really love this class because it is developing skills that I came to business school for. I am a terrible presenter, but I feel really, really strong about putting a presentation together. Give me 30 minutes and I think I can do something that I don't think I could do. Ask me just, 6, 7, I guess 9 months ago now. I really enjoyed that class. But I've also enjoyed the fact that it's put us in realistic, scenarios where you act out a role. Things that I'm very uncomfortable with, confrontation, conflict. I've been put in those situations, and having to act it out in this experimental way is really seeing the strengths that I have, but also the weaknesses that I need to work on. So I really love this class. I'm a quant background as an accountant, so didn't really need to deal with this too much. As long as the Excel is looking good, we're good. So I really appreciate this opportunity to expand that those core skills that I wanted to get from business school.
Thank you for sharing. I wanted to maybe pivot the conversation to, I know we just talked to Laura not long ago, but what are some professional resources that you all have used, whether it's to look for internships or full-time jobs?
I can kick us off. So I think in our full-time experience, I think we have a lot of resources, as Laura was mentioning. But personally, I think having access to a lot of the career center coaches that we have, industry specific, be it technology or consulting or impact. And for me, because I was looking at consulting, but also fairly flexible with technology as the backup option, I think going in, like stepping into a new geography altogether, just knowing some of the good to do versus some of the turnoffs through these advisors who have been coaching so many young adults and professionals for their entire careers. I think that was really something that helped me early on as I started my course. And then eventually, of course, there were second years who were incredibly helpful in offering their time to mentor us, coach us, be it for a behavioral interview prep or a casing interviews. I think and then we also have the peer advisors who are essentially people who've been in that industry during the summer internship and now either are going back or doing something else, but essentially they have been chosen by the career center to sort of support and be there for us as we recruit for internships. So I think to sum it up, I think it would be the career coaches, the peer advisors, and the larger second year, because I cannot echo the sentiment enough that it is a very, very close-knit community. And so every second year, peer advisor or not, I think have definitely been there for me every time I looked up to them for like help or support in just prepping for the interviews or even coffee chats for that matter. Because I think coming in from India, not a lot of us were used to the whole concept of coffee chats. You don't network, you don't have to necessarily network so much in India. It's pretty much based on like a test or like just interview invites directly. But just knowing that, or rather being told that things are going to be slightly different from early on really helped me in my recruiting journey from right when I stepped to now that I do have something to look up to for summer. So yeah, I hope that helps. Anybody else wants to add something to this?
Yeah, I'll actually jump in. I feel like that was so comprehensive from the career center perspective and just sort of jumping in to I think the full-time experience. A little bit of a difference for the flex experience I would add is on the front end, your network just explodes in size the second that you start an MBA program, right? So you've got the students that are in your cohort, your year, and then enrolled in the school in general, but you're also able to network with the Georgetown alumni base. So one of the things that I actually did as I started was reach out to more senior people within my field and sort of just chat about what their careers looked like, how Georgetown helped them get there, sort of what they're looking at more broadly. And it's been amazing to me the number of people that have like accepted my asks. Like I just say like Liz/whoever connect, and they say, yeah, sure, grab a coffee, send me a Zoom link, let's chat. And I think that's been really helpful too. It'll turn into a job offer or something maybe down the line, hopefully, but at the very least, it's also just expanding a little bit of that worldview and experience.
Thanks, Liz. I'll add something that there was a previous question that I answered in the chat, but I don't know about you, but I've had classmates network and go through placement while they're a student. And so I've had people change jobs once or twice as a flex student because generally it's a little bit longer of a track program. But yeah, certainly you are entitled to all the same Career Center resources as a flex student as you are as a full-time student. Same goes for Flex Online. Obviously the modality typically being different. But if you are Flex Online and you're in the DC area, you can still come in person to take advantage of those resources as well. So just wanted to add that. And then jumping to another question. doing an MBA, whether you're doing full-time or part-time, it's going to be a real test of your time management skills. So how do you balance your time?
I want to start and say that I came into this program and I was already someone who prioritized everything as like must be done, like 3 exclamation points, like everything is top priority. So I've had to learn how to kind of shift that mentality. I think though that in this program, there's going to be a lot on your plate. You've got your academics, you've got recruiting, you've got your actual life, you've got your other involvements, like your club involvements and other tasks that you take on, like student ambassador. But we do a lot of things together. So, like we've already talked about, the full-time program and the flex programs, they get divvied up into cohorts. And so you have your cohort to lean on. And then from there, you get divvied up into study groups. And so I've had in my first year now 3 different study teams. And those teams have been really like unbelievably supportive and they help me get through the different assignments. And so whenever someone is like, okay, I've got an interview coming up, I have to focus on this, I'm like, sure, I can, submit this deadline, meet the deadline and submit the, whatever assignment. But when it's like, hey, I need someone to help me out, it's like, hey, yeah, of course, Hoyas help Hoyas. And so you have kind of that angle to it on the academic side. And then if you look at the club side, a lot of these, like if you take on like a leadership position or a board position, if you're a co-president, you are a co-president. So you have someone else to lean on and you can work together to kind of help like manage your time together. And you also, if you're on a board, you're usually a VP, and a lot of the VPs are like multiple people working on one kind of job. So for example, in Graduate Women in Business, there are 3 VP positions and they all work together for, 3 VP positions for a conference in particular. So just one event, there's 3 of them because it's a lot of work, but it allows you to kind of like, work together and support on one another. So that's just one element of just being able to balance your time, is having a support network to help you kind of get through that.
Yeah, and to add to everything Katerina had mentioned, I think having the support of your peers, your fellow club members, club leaders is really key. But I'm the type of person where I live by my calendar. So I have it color coded based on what the task is. Before business school, I didn't have everything that I needed to do on my calendar outside of my day-to-day work. But now I have everything on there, from dentist appointments to getting, my lead comms homework done to club meetings. So that's one thing that I would highly recommend as, incoming MBAs, is to really figure out what works. Some people like to handwrite everything on their planners and have to-do lists. But for me, I live by my calendar, and I know a lot of people are that way. If it, I like that it gives you the 10-minute reminder beforehand, so you know where you need to be. So that has been really helpful, just navigating everything that's on your plate.
I'll just say +1 for the calendar. That is to live and die by for me. So yeah.
And for me, it's a communication with my direct supervisor, and it was very understanding prior to me doing the flex program. But sometimes I'm running, I have a deadline at work, and I'm like, hey, I have class today. I'll get to it after work. I mean, after class, and they're very understanding. So just having that transparency with your supervisor will take you a long way.
Yeah, just +1 to all of that. Plus also like communicating with your teams that you're constantly collaborating with, because especially in the full-time programming, and I'm sure it's the same with Flex and Flex Online, that there is a lot of group-based assignments that Katerina was mentioning about. So I think just being very vocal about, the things that you're engaged in, and, asking for help or offering to help in times where someone is like busy. I think that has really worked out for me in terms of just planning and signing up for things. So yeah, definitely a +1 to that.
If I may answer my own question too, I think one thing that's not shared very clearly externally is Georgetown's email goes through the Google Suite. So naturally, a lot of the Google integrations, Google Calendar is going to be very easy to adapt to. A lot of stuff will just go straight to the calendar through your email. Makes it very easy to, plus one in the calendar, as everyone else is saying, but Google Calendar specifically, I think, is very natural integration there. And then speaking from personal experience, as a flex student, with communicating with your teams at work about flexibility around hours, has being able to move hours around on certain days for me has opened up the possibility of taking daytime classes. And that has really added a whole other element to customizing my schedule and just opening up, a few more elective options that I wouldn't have otherwise been able to access. So you just never know sometimes the flexibility that you have until you ask for it. So it costs nothing to ask. So if you're in a similar position, I would just recommend that you try it. And then wanted to again kind of pivot topics and ask you all, how has Georgetown help you to feel included and to build community?
I'll start. I would say that there's 3 C's when it comes to business school: career, community, and I guess career, curriculum, and community are the three. And I would say that each of those aspects you build your own community around. So like for example, community, I'm in a number of clubs where, I've made friends that support me and just fun stuff. But career-wise, I've joined clubs and I've talked to the career center to kind of build my plan towards what I want post MBA. So, I said I was pursuing venture capital. So I joined the Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital Club. And they've given me a lot of tips, tricks, advice on how to pursue that. And then of course, class, it was mentioned earlier, but we are put into not only cohorts, but also study groups that we rely on each other. So I think that Georgetown really sets you up to have that community off the bat in one of those 3 areas. And it's on you to prioritize how you choose to prioritize those communities. So, yeah.
I can also add, I think, to what Paula was saying, we have kegs, which is like a ritual we have every week, which is keeping Georgetown social. And this is essentially a weekly ritual where everybody across all cohorts are essentially sections, so all cohorts. And then we also have flex people join us from time to time during these kegs, which typically happen on a Thursday. We just catch up about anything and everything under one roof. There are like beers and there's some really good food, which is sponsored by different companies or student run clubs. So that's definitely one of the weekly programmed, community building exercise that I feel is amazing. And apart from that, there are just so many outside of career clubs as well, where you can just bond over, say, tennis or soccer. So I feel like there are just so many options to choose from, and which is why Paula was mentioning it's up to you. How do you kind of pick and choose? Because the options are so many that you're like, okay, that looks interesting, but even that, and how do I kind of juggle with multiple competing deadlines, priorities, interest areas? I think it's more of picking and choosing, and the options are just unlimited.
The only thing that I would add is, I guess just from that flex perspective, there's so many opportunities to have that same community. There's really the same availability of opportunities to the full-time students. So we're in the same clubs, we have the same leadership opportunities. We go to kegs on occasion when schedules align, and it's just so much fun to be able to run into people you maybe haven't had a class with in a couple of weeks, and you took that one elective and you see them again and you say hey, or you're in a club and you've got another activity to go into. I feel like it's kind of hard to go to Georgetown and not get involved. And then the community comes with that because everyone just wants to get to know you.
Thanks, guys. So one thing that I feel sets Georgetown apart is our smaller class sizes, especially with the electives. So that relationship, that personal relationship that you develop with your professors, I think can be a huge value add to your experience. So, what professor has been most influential to you during your MBA?
Sorry, I got to shout out Jeff Reed. He taught entrepreneurship and understanding entrepreneurship, and that was what got me interested in venture capital and entrepreneurship. And because I was so excited about it, that helped me get my internship, the Venture Fellows, because that was what led me into getting showing interest. And he told me about the program and made introductions at the career day where I am working now at that place that we had our career day at. So yeah, I would say Jeff Reed, which I just ran into him in the hall, so that's kind of funny. He's been really amazing. So I would say, yeah, great, amazing professor. Take understanding entrepreneurship for sure.
I'll give a shout out to Dan Mendelson. He teaches business of healthcare, which is sort of the intro class to the certificate of the business of healthcare. But also, he comes in to teach one class one semester. But is the CEO of Morgan Health, the investing subsidiary of JP Morgan Chase that focuses on employee benefits healthcare investing. Very niche interest of mine. So really cool to take a class with a professor that sits perfectly in that niche and also has such a wide overview and purview of sort of the healthcare landscape within the US and then DC specifically. I'll be TA in the class next year, so really excited to get to take it twice.
I think I'll shout out to, sorry, Katerina, you were going next? Okay. Awesome. I think I'll shout out to a professor who we are both taking, Alicia and I, consumer behavior, Professor Alice Moon. I think she is just so cool and on top of everything that's happening, be it social media trends or just consumer behavior trends. And she makes funny TikTok reels to, convey certain messages about consumer behavior, which is I feel really cool for a professor to do, even though it's not their strongest suit. So but I feel like the way she teaches concepts while keeping it engaging, it's an elective course, but then it's also super engaging in how she brings into life these concepts through either bringing in like if you're discussing beer, she'll bring beer into the class, like not like non-alcoholic beer. Let me correct myself before somebody catches me, but non-alcoholic beer, or if there's a case regarding soda, we're drinking soda, and then discussing the case. So it's super learning by doing sort of a thing, which is really cool class. And so yeah, Professor Alice Moon should be mine.
And I will plus one that Professor Moon, and highly recommend that class, consumer behavior, as an elective.
I think I would like to give a shout out to Professor Hillary, who was our Mod 1 first semester accounting professor, which I do not like accounting. So he didn't necessarily change my opinion on it, but I think he really helped shape my MBA experience because he is A, so funny, B, is so willing to just explain something to you so many different times that really made me feel super comfortable, which I really appreciated. But he also cold calls, and I hate that. But I learned to be prepared going into class. I had to know what I was talking about because he can smell fear. And it made me, again, more confident and comfortable. And so I'm now also, I feel better about being I'm not embarrassed if I don't know something. I can be like, okay, I don't know this, but maybe we can talk it through and he will help you through that process. And so I really appreciate that about him. And he kind of stepped in for another professor that we had last week. And I just love that he'll see that I'm very clearly confused and I'm just like, what is happening? And then he'll be like, Katerina, do you have a question? I'm like, oh, yeah, I have a question. So it's nice to have a professor who's just paying attention,
Now, I'm going to piggyback off of that from what Katerina just said. I also am not the biggest fan of accounting, even prior to the program, and I don't want to be CPA or anything along those lines. But big shout out to Professor Custer. She made it so much fun to learn, and yeah, look, I came ready to learn. It was such a very engaging class. She never made me feel dumb. And even when I was working on another group project for a different class, I felt comfortable reaching out to her about interpreting some of the quarterly reports that she gave me. She went above and beyond and gave me this whole analysis of the product we were working on, company that we were working on. So big shout out to her. Like I said, she's amazing at what she does, and it just made the whole learning experience so much better.
She literally nerds out about accounting to the point that you want to nerd out about accounting. You're like, oh, maybe this is fun.
If anyone has to drop, I realize we hit 8 o'clock and I promised you 8 o'clock. If you have another thing you have to go to, please feel free to go ahead. I just have one more question for whoever can stay for another minute. You know, I guess what advice would you have for these applicants, for these potential students about MBA or life in general?
I have to drop, so I want to give my quick piece of knowledge that I've learned here. But really, I think that uh, organization and planning is key and essential to finding success here at the MSB. Something I really learned is like good intentions are not good enough to make great plans, right? You need to not only want it, but you need to also have a plan of action on how to get it. So I would say that like really think about what you want to do. You're more than welcome to be flexible, but at least move towards something. Um, a lot of it is going to be thrown at you. So knowing what your plan is going to be super helpful. So yeah. And so sorry I have to go, but it's really been a pleasure. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, everybody. Best of luck to all the students or applicants or wherever you are in the process. Hopefully we'll see you in the fall.
Thank you, Phil.
I'm happy to go next. This is advice that I got from my senior year high school English teacher, but was really heavy when I was considering MBA programs. But it's that you tend to regret the things you don't do more than the things that you do. And I think that that really helped me drive my decision to applying to MBA programs, to selecting where I wanted to go, to picking classes, to saying hi to the person in the hallway that maybe I was a little bit intimidated by. But it just kind of it's helped push me forward and helped me gain perspective that, jumping into something new is generally a good thing.
Something that I would advise as you're looking at different programs, as you're making that decision as to, if you want to go get an MBA, talk to as many people as possible. Talk to current students, talk to alumni, go visit the campus, go visit the community, because it's really important to experience that for yourself. You're welcome to reach out to any of us about our experiences. Because it is a big decision, whether it's part-time, flex, it's a big decision to go back to school, to, be back in the classroom. I mean, for me, I was out of school for 10 years. So it was a major adjustment to walk away from my job full-time to then become a full-time student. So that would be my biggest piece of advice as you're going through this process.
I think I want to add that like it is again so important to make sure that there's like a culture fit and you see yourself like being a part of the community and being happy in this space, because it is 2 years of your life or 2 to 3 years of your life. But also you want to make sure that you really just kind of buy into it. Like just don't be afraid of it. Just kind of just allow yourself to be a part of the experience, because it's so much more valuable and it's so much more fun when you're just like, yeah, let's do it.
One of the things that put things into perspective for me, I was talking to a mentor when I found out that I had gotten in, and we talked about how some of the things that were holding me back were the financial obligations, and we talked about ROI and everything else, and then she said, "What?" So it seems like the financial obligations weighed heavily on me, and then she asked me, "Would you do this if this was free?" And I said, 110%, like no question. And that's what spoke to me, and I'm like, wow, okay. So and that's what ultimately led me to my ultimate decision, and so far it's been the best experience I've ever had, in my professional career. So hoping the same for you as well.
Just adding on to like a lot on the culture fit, but also just thinking about what is important to you as you make that decision for identifying which schools are culture fit for you. I think having those criteria really helped for me personally as I was weighing in on a lot of parameters. And I think with international students, one other sort of a little bit of a disadvantage is you might not always be able to go in person and meet people in person or visit the campus. But at the same time, I feel like Alicia and Katerina and everybody was mentioning here, just speak with as many people as possible. Have your criteria as to what you define as a culture fit for you, because it's a two-way street, right? Because you don't want to just choose a school based on rankings or just based on if somebody is giving a full ride, because that would just do disservice to you if that's not a culture fit to you. And you'll understand this when you come into the school. So I think I cannot harp that point enough on culture fit, and therefore having a criteria on what is important to you. And that can be, financials, it can be like the fit in terms of post-career goals, it can be a multiple criteria points, but definitely spending some time on that and then having those intentional conversations to assess if that school, and obviously I'm biased towards Georgetown, but having those conversations with alumni and current students to understand if that fits your definition of what culture you want to be a part of and community that you want to build together.
All right, thank you all. I have kept you long enough and really appreciate you taking additional time to share your insight. Again, this is so important for these prospective students who are going through the process. Hearing from you is really going to help them just better judge what they want to do for their next steps. And so thank you so much on behalf of everyone on the call for sharing your insights. You are dismissed. Please get ready for lead comm and any other classes that you have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. For everyone else on the call, I am available for the next 5 minutes or so for any final questions. Please feel free to message. I will also forward our inbox email address in the chat if anyone would like to reach out later. But I will go ahead and type that out right now. Main inbox is Georgetown MBA at georgetown.edu. So if you ever need to reach out to us with any questions, it's in the chat. Please copy, save that for future reference. Yeah, this is a great question. We had a question come in. How can we chat with current students and admissions officers? Let me go back here. And that's crazy that worked on the first click. That's not what I was going for. Let me see here. Sorry, I might have sent the email to just the panelists, but here it is for everyone. Thank you for catching that. Sorry about the confusion there. Should be able to see it now. Great. So the question is, how can we chat with current students and admissions officers? If you scan this QR code on the top left of the screen, ultimately what it will do is redirect you to our website. And we actually have a chat feature called Unibuddy. If you navigate through our admissions menu, there's an option to reach out to current students, as well as the admissions staff. We are all on the chat system. And for the students, you can kind of see people's profiles and what extracurriculars they're a part of, where they're from, what they're studying, things like that. So if you find someone who is maybe a good fit for what you want to talk about, feel free to reach out to them. And so they will chat you back at their earliest convenience. You can also attend events here. But yeah, through these QR codes, you can also sign up for admissions officer advisor chats as well. So while you can message us, we can certainly also do in-person or video interactions as available. Next question is, what is the most important value that Georgetown holds? That's a great question. I mean, I don't know that there's one single, you're very welcome. I don't know if there's one single value that we hold above all else, but certainly values like service to community, care for the whole person. Some of you may have heard of Cura Personalis from our website. Certainly things that we look out for and look to develop further throughout the program. And then a question around social impact resources at McDonough. What sorts of experiential learning is available? Examples, working with local nonprofits to solve different problems they have, or fellowship programs that might be available to students. Yeah, that's a great question. So social impact resources. I'll add that first of all, there are a number of extracurriculars. There is the Business for Impact. There's also the Net Impact Club. I will add that there's a initiative called the Small Business Corps, where you can actually essentially lead a consulting project with other MBA students and even Georgetown students from other disciplines in working with local businesses and helping them solve those real life problems. So it's experiential, it's real life in the same way that like the GBE is on an international scale, but this is a little bit more local, a little bit more small business oriented to make a little bit bigger relatively of an impact, I would say. So Small Business Corps has its own website. I don't know if I can find the link right now as I sift through questions, but please Google it and you can read all about it there. Thanks for asking. So there are just a couple of minutes left. I know I promised everyone till 8:15. So if there are any remaining questions, I will stay online to answer them. But if you don't have any questions, please feel free to head out. Thank you for spending your evening with us.